computer. All right. Let's go ahead and start with you, Adam. You have some questions about your project?
Yeah, I do. I won't be able to be here for very long since I got a team meeting here in a few minutes. Yes. Sure. Guys, I did ask for some clarity on items 3 and 4 for my senior project. Oh, that works. My teammates are gonna be late. You said that you were gonna be on the meeting as well, so we can elaborate more on that. So sure. As I mentioned, I finished the creating the tables, filling the tables as you saw, and did a few updates, I think a couple deletes and alters in the queries. So I was just trying to get an idea of where am I at now relative to completion.
Okay, so it looks like you're about, I think it's like third, maybe a little over a third of the way, because the next step is the next step is the case studies. So like you said, it's like hypothetical, so you're doing the game store, so what are our best selling games? What are our least selling games? What games sell well per month? Things like that. Whatever kind of report you think you might need in the business is what you want to do.
Okay.
You want to and so that's the first thing you do, and then you write the queries that give you that information. So that's what I kind of want. Okay. So once you got that, so go ahead. So once you got that done, so we want you to kind of mock up what the front end is going to look like. Right.
So mock-up, are you actually looking for just? Do you want me to? Are you asking for
hand drawing,
just hand drawn, or just something? Just a basic prototype, what it would look like hypothetically. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's it. So you'll have here's the game sold report, and here's where the chart will be, and here's where the data from that chart will come from, and here's what the input box will be, and this is how it's going to work, and this is the query.
Okay.
Yeah.
And get an idea of what the front end will look like and how it's going to plug in.
Right, exactly. And you only need to do that. You don't need to for the entire application, because you're not designing a soup to nuts full application. You're going to design just something. I just need to see some of the UIs of the test cases that you did.
Okay. All right. I can come up with that.
Yeah, that's super simple. And then the last thing, once all that's done, right? Last thing you do is you either do a PowerPoint presentation or a video presentation presenting it to me.
Okay, I can do the presentation. I'll do a video presentation. Yeah. That's easier to do. All right, I was just wanting to get a little bit clarity on that. So
yeah, sure, no problem.
Just to elaborate, just make sure I'm understanding what I heard. Next step is basically come up with a hypothetical, hypothetical situation.
Case studies, yeah.
Case studies, hypothetical case studies, and then write the queries for that. Okay, and then after that, create a prototype, basic prototype mock-up of what the front end would look like and how that would connect with the database and where that information will be inputted and outputted.
Yep.
Okay. And then fifth and finally, just video recording, presenting all that information to you. Okay.
And then what you'd send me is all your code, your ERD, and the presentation.
Cool.
Yep. That's that. Oh, and the mock-up.
Oh, yeah, the mock-up, of course. Yeah. And that would be the submission, and just submit that to you just via email.
Yep, zip it up, and I think there's a place to submit it for a grade on Canvas.
Oh, cool! If I can find that, I'll put that on there, and if I don't see it, I'll let you know.
I think it shows up. If not, I'll send you a link. But it's just it shows up there as final project. Upload it, and then I grade it.
Oh, phenomenal! And due date in particular, because depending
before
on
the end of week 13, before the end of week 12.
Before the end of week 12. So depending on how bored I get this week or next week from work, I can probably just get that all done.
Yep. Turn it in when you want, but it has to be in by the end of week 12.
By the end of week 12. All right. We're week 9. So I get that done. Cool. All right, that was just my questions.
Awesome. Well, thanks for stopping by.
I appreciate it.
Yep. Okay, Casey, what can I help you with today?
So I'm having a question about the application of actual subquery.
Sure.
Yeah.
So how to do them or why you do them?
I can see why. I know that they return the result set of, the subquery, it's like a miniature query. It's like a query inside of a query kind of thing going on. But I do not know how to use the in actual work. I don't know how to actually use it.
Okay. So here's one I had from last week. I'll write one here on the fly, because sometimes that works good, sometimes that doesn't work so good. So here's where I've got select title from film, or film ID, and I have this subquery here. And this is not necessarily a practical application, it's just here's how it works kind of thing. So I just have this one query here. So I go here. This query just runs without a problem, hopefully. Yeah, it gives me my answers, right? So I'm going to add this where film ID, where actor name is Chase. So I want the film ID where someone named Chase is in it, right? So I can take that and put it into a where clause. And I have to use in, because if I did equal, it wouldn't work because it's more than one value, right? And select title from film where film ID is in this. Now I could write this with a bunch of other subquery, but the inner join structure there. But the reason why I would do it this way is, so are you familiar with object-oriented programming?
Oh yeah, I've taken Python. I'm taking web. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so look at this subquery like an object that you want to reuse over and over and over again. Okay, so that's what kind of the subqueries are. So let's say, this is simple. So let's get a little more complicated here. So let me write a subquery here that returns a couple things. Select a dot l name. Oh, is it that line? So this is the way to cheat on this stuff, which I like to do. First name, right? And then I want f dot title, and I want f dot rating, and I want f dot length. Okay. So let me grab my inner joins from here. Okay. I just want the inner joins with the films here. I just want these. Copy them down here. Okay. That should run without a problem. Make sure it'll run without a problem. I think this is what I want. Okay. Good. Okay, good. So I've got this one query that I need to use on. I've got a bunch of queries I'm going to run, and this is going to be one of the core of them. So there's two things I could do here. Ideally, I could make this a view, which we haven't really talked about, but a view is like a permanent query that runs. That looks like a table, it acts like a table, but you can't do anything with it. It's just a read-only view of data, right? So let's say I've got this, and I want to, what do I want to do here? I want to know, let's go off of staff. No, let's go off of customer. And I want to go, let's see, we got columns here. And then I've got rental here. Okay. Rental ID, driver ID, customer ID. Okay. So then I want to, okay. So let me put customer ID here as well. The actor ID here. Oh, do film ID. Do film ID as well here. Okay. So that's still going to work, right? Okay, good. Get the film ID in there. Good, 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 good. Okay, so that's that. Then what I want to do is I want to get select customer last name. So C dot customer last name, comma. I want f dot title, comma, and then I want rental date, semicolon, rental r dot rental date. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm write this query, but I'm going to use this subquery in the inner join statement. Okay. So I'm going to do this as customer last name. So this is going to be my F in this. So I need to, this is going to be a little complicated on this. I'm going to do inner join from customer as C. And then I'm going to C. And I'm going to inner join. I'm going to inner join rental as R on C dot customer ID equals R dot customer ID. Are you following me so far?
Yeah.
I'm going to inner join inventory as I enter on I dot rental ID. No, so I dot inventory ID equals R dot inventory ID. And then I'm going to inner join that with this here. I'm really hoping this is going to work. I like to test these before I try. I'm going to call this F1 just to be safe. And I'll call this F1 up here. F1 inner join on F1 dot film ID. Is it film ID and inventory? Yep. Film ID. Equals I dot film ID. Okay. So what I've done is I've used this subquery in place of a table. Okay. And it's allowing me, so now I can use this subquery in many other transactions. So I don't have to rewrite it, right? So, and then I run this and it didn't work. Unknown I dot film ID in the clause. Why? Oh, that's why. Simple mistake. Okay, did that fix the problem? Boom, there you go. Okay. So here, so I'm getting a bunch of, I'm getting a bunch of repeats here because I fixed it, but this is generally the idea why this would happen. So to put distinct here, and that should fix the problem. Okay. There we are. Okay, there we go. So does that make a little bit more sense as to how it works?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what it is. I mean, and there's reasons why, like, you don't, even the like views, even though we haven't talked about it, views are like permanent additions to the schema of the database. And sometimes you don't want to add more views than you need. So you just use these subqueries to do the job. I like to use them, particularly if I don't want to use a view, I'll create them and kind of make them, what's the programming term I'm thinking of? Modules, something like that. But I just reuse the code over and over again.
Okay.
So, but that's pretty much, and like I said, this is just a look, I can do it kind of thing. This doesn't necessarily make sense because we can just do a big inner join with that. But I like the idea of making this a component and just using that code over and over again as I need to.
Okay.
Okay. Particularly if like this would be something for like if you were a developer running against the database and you didn't have permission to change the schema.
Okay.
You'd have to do it this way. All right.
Gotcha.
Does Does that clear it up better?
Yes, that clears it up. But what about a correlated one?
Correlated subquery.
Yeah.
So this is where I kind of hit a little bit of a block, because the majority of my day is spent in Microsoft SQL Server, and I've got to remember what a correlated subquery is. So I'm going to get back to you on that one.
Okay, that's fine.
I do know, and I can tell you this right now, and this might seem like as a brush off or something. That's not a term you ever use in the real world.
Never.
Yeah, I've been in this field 20 years, and I've never had a DBA look at me and goes, "Well, can we write a correlated subquery?" It's just, can we write the subquery?
Okay.
So, I would just, whoever in the higher ups watch this and get mad at me for saying it, I wouldn't worry about the term. Just understand what a subquery is for the real world.
Okay.
So I mean, the word correlated means it corresponds with it dovetails with something else. So, but yeah, I don't think I've ever actually used the term outside of this class, and I usually say there's a couple terms that we use in this class that I never use in the real world, so I kind of gloss over them sometimes. But
Okay.
for the purpose of the exam, I'm sure the definition is somewhere in the book. Just I don't even think it's on. I don't think it's on any of the exams. But yeah, don't worry about it. Just understand what a subquery is and how it does and how you work it. Other than that, don't worry about correlated.
All right. I think I concludes all of my questions.
Okay. How are you? Have you chosen the final project or you do the final exam?
For me, I've back when we were choosing, when it was like the choice of the fork in the road back a while back, I chose to do the final exam.
Okay. I mean, that's a great choice. I'm just curious. I'm trying to make sure everyone who's doing the final project, I make sure I'm up to where they're going. Cool. Do you have any other questions or comments or concerns?
No, sir.
Okay, great. Well, thank you for stopping by tonight.
Thank you.
I'm going to pause recording here, and then I'm going to get my notes together for the rest of tonight's conversation. Okay, so thank you guys for showing up tonight. I just want to think real quick about the lesson I wanted to show you. If we look at the lesson, we were talking about left joins, right joins, group bys, having, sums, all that other stuff, things we've done all already. I don't know if you can see, I think I'm just sharing out the one screen here. But so the one command we haven't done is with rollup, and it's easier to show you what with rollup does than try to explain it. So here's the deal. So here's a query I've got. I'm going to take the with rollup out and just run it. And I'm writing the query. It's select name, rating, and the sum of replacement cost is total cost from film. I'm interjoining the language table on language ID in the two tables, and I'm grouping by the name of the language, and I'm doing the rating. Okay, so here in the results set, I've got English PG $3,081, English G, English NC 17, Japanese G, English R. So I'm getting this time. So what it's basically is, these are the two I'm aggregating by, right? And that's the sum. I'm aggregating by and the sum. I'm aggregating by and the sum. Okay. So if I add with rollup, what happens is this. So English G, English N17, English PG, English PG 13, English R, English. So all the English films total up to 17,147. Okay. And the same thing that I do the Japanese one separately. And then I do the Japanese, all the Japanese ones are that. And then the total cost of everything. So what it does is it breaks down, it gives you like running totals on things. So if I added here, if I did, so let me select the language ID to 2, and where that's between 10 and 30. I'm just adding some language IDs into here because everything is set at 1. Okay, that's 10 and 70. Not 740, that'd be everything. 10 and 70. Okay, that changed 173. If I run this again, okay, now I've got English, I've got Italian, I've got Japanese, and then the totals for English, the totals for Italian, the totals Japanese, and then the total of everything. Okay. If I change the order around here, and if I did by rating, I'm not sure that would make a difference. See if that makes a difference here. See if order matters. I don't play with roll up a lot. Yeah, so here, look at this, when it does this way, this is interesting how this works now. I put it by rating and by language, right? So now English Gs, Italian Gs, Japanese Gs, and then the total of Gs, the English, Italian, Japanese, and the total of the rating. So it rolls up differently. So the order you put it in completely makes a difference on how, what your primary thing is. So here it's totaling up by the rating, and in the previous one, it was totaling up by the language, okay? So basically all roll up does is it gives you a running total of things. So here, in this case, it's the running total of the Gs, running total of the NC-17s, PGs, and so on and so forth, okay? It's not used a whole lot. It's a financial thing. I have not, in my years doing this, I haven't used roll up maybe once or twice. I use it more in these classes than I do in the real world, but that's kind of what it does. It's a neat trick. A lot of times that function will be done by the front end. But no, so that's there. Okay, so that's the only thing that's in this week's assignment that we haven't talked about yet. So the interesting thing about this class, the way it gets taught, particularly for me in my class, is that I cover a lot of the stuff ahead of time. And because at this point in time, you guys are trying to get through, we're at week 9, there's 4 weeks left, 5 weeks left. You're just trying to get everything done. So I'm trying to make it on simple and use possible. So at this point, this is going to be the end of the video. We've talked about the final projects. If you're still working on your final projects, please make sure you touch base with me if you need it. They're due by the end of week 12 because I need a week and a half, 2 weeks to grade them. And if you turn into week 14, I'm going to be very sad. Turn in by the end of week 12 so I can grade them. If you're doing the final exam, just get that done whenever you want to get done before week 14. It grades itself. If you have late work, get it in by the end of week 12 so I can grade it and get you the grade that you've earned. So there's that. I think that covers everything. Next week's video is going to be focusing on the project mostly, because I'm pretty sure we covered everything in the code. Anything that we haven't covered, like today with rollup, I'll cover then. Please keep in touch with me. Please let me know what's going on. I'm here to help. Talk to you soon. Take care.